This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out of Me. Welcome back, everyone. You know what time it is. Sunday night. Sometimes Tuesday night, but this time it's Sunday night.
And it's a request night.
It is a request night. You know who you are who requested this movie. And, wow. Not a lot to say about this one, but, you know, something to say. You know, we always have something to say. So, if you haven't already...
We have to fill time, Will.
Yeah, we're going to have to pad this out like this movie did. If you haven't already, go like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff so we can keep doing the show for you guys. We really appreciate you listening. Really appreciate you getting in those recommendations. We do a recommendation every 5 episodes, so please get them in if you haven't already. If you've been scared, now's your shot. This is what we do. And like today, we reviewed a movie from 1974. We're going back to the 70s.
And that's the thing, is like if you have, recommendations for foreign movies or whatever, like in reasonable standards.
As long as we can get a hold of like a copy of them, we should be fine.
Yeah.
As long as we can watch some sort of copy somewhere, it's totally fine to recommend that. If it's very obscure, I don't know what to tell you. If it's hard for us to find, unless you want to reach out and maybe...
Well, if it's hard to find and it's not translated...
Well, the only thing I can say is, like, if you really want... If you're dying for us to, like, watch one of those, maybe you can reach out on social medias and we can try and work something out where you can ship it to us or...
Yeah, if you have a copy.
Sending us a copy, something like that. But we haven't run into that yet, so...
This assumes it has, English subtitles or something. Because
even if it's like a bootleg, whatever.
I would prefer to know what's happening.
But yeah, we do one every 5 episodes to get them in, and we really appreciate you listening. Let's get to the recommendation. Tonight we watched Sister Street Fighter.
So,
which has almost nothing to do with the Street Fighter with Sony Chiba.
It has Sony Chiba in it.
He plays a different character, which is kind of more infuriating.
There is fighting in the streets. Same studio.
That's it.
Same year. Yeah. It's like, you have the Street Fighter, man.
Yes.
And then the same studio was like, I got you. Same year. You have Street Fighter, but woman.
And we'll throw Sony Chiba in like 10 minutes of it.
And he'll be in both of them.
They'll be in Sister Street Fighter for literally 10 minutes.
So I know I've seen this at some point in my life. It was a deeply just horrible, borderline unwatchable copy of this. So it just kind of glazed over me because it's just like, the quality was too bad to care.
I think I've seen this in one of those. Did you ever do DVD bin diving where you would find those
50 pack,
like the 50 pack of martial arts movies, and it would just be a bunch of obscure, horribly dubbed, barely even borderline bootleg copies of these movies.
It was either something like that or I found it on YouTube or something, but the quality was just borderline unwatchable.
Yeah.
And this is much better, so it's kind of easier to, pay attention to the thick and deep plot here.
You mean the thick plot of brother gets kidnapped, sister goes to find him?
Yes.
That is literally the plot.
That's all you need.
We have evil corporation against peaceful dojo.
Evil drug dealing dojo. I don't even know what they are.
You know what I think is hilarious, though? This is going to be all over the place, so there's no structure.
It's a martial arts movie.
There's barely any structure to the movie, so there's going to be barely any structure to this episode, okay? My favorite thing is the dojo, after, figuring out where the brother's being kept and who by, is like, hey, use all the resources you need. We're all behind you.
Yeah.
And instead of taking the whole dojo with her, she takes, maybe 2 people.
Well, she doesn't really need anybody else, to be honest.
I mean, she kicks some serious ass in this movie, but
She kicks everyone's ass. Some multiple times. More than once.
I do wish we had the only reason I would want like a copy of this movie is to see if there is like is it Japanese?
Yeah.
Like a Japanese subtitled version.
I'm sure there is.
Where I could see what the title cards for each of the villains, because they each get introduced and there's this big title. Although the evil woman didn't get introduced. You never fought her.
She never had a fight scene.
She never had a fight scene.
Unless I missed it.
Shame.
But no.
She never did. But they each get their own title cards, and I want to see what those the titles
what
of the fighters were. We know one is Hammerhead for sure.
Yeah, because they literally say his name.
He has the Straw Hat Gang with him.
And they all have like weird facial scarring for some reason.
It kind of reminded me of the from Lone Wolf and Cub, the Whistling Flute clan.
Yeah.
But they were a lot cooler in Lone Wolf and Cub. So Lone Wolf and Cub is a far superior movie.
It's a bit more rape in
unfortunately, yes. Lots and
lots. Unless you watch Shogun Assassin.
Shogun Assassin 1 and 2, you can watch those.
Excises.
Yeah, they they condense it all.
They condense it all. The copious amounts of rape scenes.
Yeah, they condense it all because Lone Wolf and Cub is a bit of a hard watch sometimes.
It's like, oh, you want an anti-hero? We got you, baby. Kind of like the Street Fighter, which is, fun. If anyone hasn't seen the Street Fighter, because when you watch this movie, you're like, okay, Sonny Chiba's in this.
Right, so he plays the same person because it's Street Fighter, Sister Street Fighter, right?
Because if you've seen the Street Fighter, he is very morally not there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the fun of it. So you watch this and you're like, oh, it's the same character. But no, it's a different character.
Yeah.
He's just a guy who is at the dojo and he's really good at fighting.
Well, like Sonny Chiba,
That's it. That's his character.
Yeah, that's literally his entire character is just, I'm good at fighting and I'm at this dojo.
And he is down to help.
Well, and that's literally the plot is this woman is in Hong Kong and her brother gets kidnapped and pumped full of drugs. Mm-hmm. So she goes to the United States. No. Japan. Yeah. Sorry. She goes to Japan to find him and then just fights her way to save her brother and doesn't even do that. Spoiler alert.
Well, he dies. But she, she gets there. It's just he gets murdered by Brother something. Brother Lee. He's a preacher.
The preacher man with a fucking dart gun.
Every villain in this is it's like a comic book.
Let's go over the villains that we remember. Okay, so there's Hammerhead, who has a sword. He's like a samurai guy.
He also has they're
sword,
like brass knuckles, but it's just like
a triangle.
Yeah, it's a pointy triangle.
And he has his little hat gang. There's a guy with like these wood tonfa things.
There's the nunchuck guy.
There's the woman that never appears. There's a crew of like leopard spot, like they have like leopard print like dresses and they're like boxers.
They kick.
Yeah. And they're like kickboxers. I wonder if it was like Muay Thai kind of stuff. I don't know.
They looked exotic, Will. And there's a guy with
quote unquote exotic as you could look at a
they're Filipino or Thai, I don't know.
A 70s Japanese movie.
Then there's a guy with like, what the hell is it called? The two like forks.
Oh, the size.
Yeah. There's a guy with that. There's like obviously our main big bad who is Wolverine.
He's like,
and he always wears sunglasses.
He's like a weird, like Charlton Heston-esque, like Wolverine playboy.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know. He looks like he belongs in like a Yakuza movie or something. But he just always wears sunglasses, except for the very, very, very end of the movie when he has to take them off for fighting. But he always wears sunglasses.
With like a clawed glove.
he has a Wolverine glove, which the more I think about it, the more I realize where they got that from. Because the year before this, Enter the Dragon came out.
Yeah, it's like the exact same thing.
And the villain of that, it wasn't like... It was like a hook hand.
Well, it looked way cooler in that movie.
I won't go with that. I won't mention that.
That's too easy. It's too easy. Comparing those two is like, it's too easy.
But that's him. Then there's a guy who he has a spray tan. He wears a fedora.
And he
can't aim.
He wears a white suit. He can't hit anything, and he has little tiny knives that he still can't hit anything with.
Yeah, and then there's near the end of the movie, they're like, okay, everyone's got their asses kicked, but we got the best guy. It's Brother Lee or Brother whatever, and it's a preacher man with a gun that shoots arrows. It's like a harpoon gun. But instead of shooting harpoons, it shoots little arrows.
Yep.
That's his thing.
So I think that's all the villains.
Yeah.
Now, this movie, it's a martial arts movie, so it's just a series of fight scenes. That's all you get. Like, she just goes to save her brother. That's the entire plot. Inter-movie.
Now also, before, the movie, we both saw that this was originally...
X-rated.
Given an X rating in the U.S.
I was just about to go into that because you'll notice in the first, probably good, 45 minutes of the movie, almost no blood is shown.
Well, there is blood, but it's very...
Well, people just spit out a little bit of blood, or, so in one part, a guy gets, he gets a sickle in his eye.
Yeah.
And, it's not very bloody at all.
But that was apparently one of the scenes.
Yeah, so we watched the unedited. I want to see the edited version, actually.
I cannot.
Because they would cut out everything.
Everything good.
The thing is, you'll notice it's pretty tame, right? And you're just if you know it's X-rated, you're just how the fuck is this X-rated? Nothing is...
Yeah, what about this is...
there's no nudity. Yeah. There's no, ultra violence.
There's, 5 seconds of nudity and...
At, a strip club. And then there's also, a sexual assault scene where there's a little bit more nudity, but,
barely.
But barely. There's nothing.
Yeah. And the whole time you're just what's so objectionable here? And then you get to the ending. And I guess that was just too much.
We'll get to the ending. I think most of these movies where we just have no structure, we usually save the ending because it's the most baller.
They definitely went all out for the ending.
Let's just get my least favorite fight scene out of the way. The fucking one where they fight the fucking exotic leopard women, because for some reason all the other fight scenes are kind of in frame. It's fine. Yeah. It's just your typical martial arts fighting scenes where, people are flying around, kicking, punching, seeing hayas and stuff like that.
And then you get to that scene.
And then you get to this scene, and for some reason, I don't know if it was too close quarters, if they just couldn't do it.
They get weird.
They start kicking because these exotic fighters, they kick a lot.
Yeah.
And every time they kick, they would do a crash zoom
over and over and over.
They would zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out.
And the whole scene, almost all of it, is completely incoherent. It's pretty impressive.
It is pretty impressive. Because the rest of the fight scenes are pretty coherent. You can tell what's going on. You know exactly what's happening. You know who's fighting who. Everything's fine. But for some reason, their brains broke during this fight scene.
And one of them... Now... Well, the other thing is... Oh, we forgot another bad guy. The guy with the poison darts.
Yes. Oh, yeah, and the giant weird shield.
Because there's a scene where they get this woman who's been addicted to heroin, and they take her back to their dojo, and she starts having withdrawals.
There's that riveting withdrawal scene, Requiem for a Dream can't hold a candle.
Well, first you just
to this withdrawal scene.
You're just confused. She starts freaking out, and you're like, what's going on? And she's like, I need it. I need it. I need heroin. And
because she just kind of rolls around.
She starts scratching at the walls and stuff. But before she can spill the beans or whatever, you see a guy on a rooftop with a big, I don't even know, it's like a tribal shield, and it's just a big shield.
Yeah.
And then he just takes it away, and he just blows a poison dart, and it kills her.
Yeah.
And he shows up again in the scene.
In the scene with the exotic fighters, because
he kills
the old man, because the
uncle.
The uncle,
Sister Street Fighter's uncle.
Yeah, because he's the connection, right? He's the reason that she's there, because he said that her brother went missing. But he's also working with the evil dudes. And
he feels bad about what they're doing to Sister Street Fighter's brother.
You need to stop this. He tries to stop by getting him the fucking brother cookies. I'm not kidding. He brings him cookies.
He brings him cookies with a secret
message.
And they never actually say what's written on there, but the guy, we get some elder abuse, which I love. I love elder abuse in my movies. It's always funny. Especially when it's clearly not elderly actors. It's even better.
It's great.
But, there's some elder abuse there, and then they threaten to rape his daughter unless he calls Sister Street Fighter and tells her, come to the old factory.
So she goes to the old factory, she kicks all their asses, everything's fine. She gets, her leg cut, I get. No, that's the ending.
That's later, yeah.
She doesn't get anything. Well, what's weird is they, fight and everything, and then she fights the nunchuck guy. So she takes out all the other guys. Everyone's, pretty much, I guess it's implied that she kills them. But again, there's no violence. They
just cough blood, maybe.
And so she's fighting the nunchuck guy, and she just jumps off this staircase, and then it's the next scene. And they do that. You'll notice they do that a lot in this movie, where a character will be fighting or saying something or doing something, and then they'll just cut to the next scene, and there's no explanation, and the movie just continues like normal.
I like the scene where she's going to the evil man's compound, and she meets Hammerhead, and they square up.
Yes.
And they're about to go at it. And then the scene just, he jumps or something.
And
they're at a cliffside. And they fight on the cliffs, and then they're on a little bridge. Okay? And eventually, he knocks her off the bridge, and she magically turns into a dummy. And we get to see an extended shot of a dummy just tumbling off the bridge into the water.
Yeah.
And the scene just cuts. And that's never mentioned, really.
Well, until this scene with
she appears
with the old man and their his daughter,
No, she appears at when one of the other women is breaking into the docks, and she is stealing the truck.
Oh, that's right.
Full of wigs, which are doused in drugs
and heroin,
and she steals it.
Well, and then she appears, and the guys are like, "You cannot be killed."
Yeah.
They don't explain how she survived at all.
No, there's a great part.
This is what I mean. Big shit happens, and the movie just continues.
My favorite part, which made both of us burst out laughing, is there's a part after she kicks their asses, and they're having a meeting, and one of the guys is like, "She's alive." She's alive, and the guy's like, "What?" And then you just see a quick 2-second shot of the dummy falling off the fucking bridge,
implying that he's like, "I saw her die," basically.
And he's like, "You fool, you messed up, you couldn't kill her."
They have a fight at the pool.
A fight?
Barely.
Are you talking about when they introduce all the baddies?
Yeah. Well, and this is also where
he turns into a stuntman.
Where old man turns into a tiny stuntman. Because they
do this thing where they film upward towards the sky, and then one of the actors just goes on a trampoline and jumps across the screen. And whenever it's Sister Street Fighter, it's her, it's actually her doing it. And then when it's this guy, he's a little.
It's the main bad guy.
I guess he's a little up there in age, so they didn't. He's got brittle bones. And when it's him doing it,
It's like a young guy in a wig.
It's a young guy with longer hair.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
And then at the very end of the movie, they do that again, and I swear to God, it looks like a child or a doll.
Little baby, like a little baby flipping through the sky. At least they didn't do, where they, like Miami Connection, where they completely changed the actor.
Oh, for the whole ending of
for
the movie?
entire ending of the movie.
That's great.
So anyway, the old man, we were at the exotic fight scene because the old man is about to tell like his daughter and like the two other people that where the compound is, basically.
Yeah, or whatever.
And because this Sister Street Fighter shows up and like kicks all their asses after being presumed dead again. And
yes. Yes.
Like they thought they killed her again, and so
she's fine.
Then she appears again and like swings from a rafter and like kicks all their masks off, and one of the women turns into a man stunt double. Surprisingly, I love what. So it's all women, right? And she kicks one of them, and the mask breaks, and it's a mustachioed man with armpit hair.
As it's a man,
and he's wearing a dress. It's hilarious.
They ran out of stunt women, I guess.
It's only hilarious because of how obvious the fucking stunt double is.
They don't even bother.
They don't even try. So he gets harpooned in the neck by that fucking blow dart guy.
Which you never see him die.
You see him like awkwardly grab that woman's neck with his feet and then like shake her.
Oh yeah, and then she kicks him in the nuts and he dies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because
she like karate chops him in the balls, and she annihilates his testicles so hard that he dies. They should have cut that out for the fucking R-rated version.
Why did he shake like his legs at her? What was he trying to do?
He was gonna rip her head off. I don't know. Why did she roll the one guy like a bread roller? Well,
because she had to twist his neck all the way around. Okay,
she like rolled. Like you're rolling a fucking pizza dough.
So that's another. I love that villain because he wears like a white suit. He's the one where he's like, "You won't die," and he like tries to shoot. Like literally, she is like
right there,
feet, like a few feet away from him.
He misses her both times.
Misses her both times, and then he
gets kicked in the ass.
Yeah, he gets his ass kicked, but the fucking car lights on fire and like destroys all the heroin wigs.
Shameful.
And then when he's like fighting at the end, when he's like trying to throw his little knives, he misses her 3 times. He's like the worst assassin on the planet.
So, okay. So the movie, it's like you're watching it and it's fine. You know, it's fine. It's kind of just
your typical like, Sunday martial arts movie.
You can't you're
just enjoying it.
You can't really take it seriously. It's just kind of goofy, and the plot is non-existent, and you're just kind of whatever. But the whole time you're like, why
is it X-rated?
Why did this get an X rating?
Like, what is going on? Why is this X-rated?
And then you get to the ending with all the bad guys, everybody.
This is like the end scene where she's finally infiltrating the compound, right? Because they've already had their little their bridge match, so she knows where the compound is.
Yep.
And so now she's going there for real because she has confirmed that her brother is there in the dungeon.
Because it was her uncle's last dying breath is that her brother is in the cellar, and the whole time, by the way, they've been getting the brother addicted to heroin.
Well, no, they've been slowly pumping him with more. They're like doing an experiment on him, like pumping him more and more with heroin. For no reason.
Memes. And she hitches a ride on a truck full of heroin wigs. Literally. That's what happens. She hitches a ride on it, and it takes her to the compound.
Yeah, so she's at the compound, and this is where I don't know what happened, but the filmmakers were like, okay, we've saved everything up. We haven't been that violent. Time to get violent.
Yeah, because she gets her brother out, and
our fucking priest guy
shows up and shoots the brother with arrows right in the heart, and there's and it's just him being like, go, you can't save me. And you get a shot of just
blood spraying everywhere.
If you've seen, Zatoichi or Lone Wolf and Cub or any of those movies,
it's like the blood spraying, or Kill Bill,
Kill Bill,
you know.
But it's just spraying, and when they released, and that was, I guess I'll mention all this shit at the end. But you see that, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And he dies.
I love when he dies, the blood keeps spraying, and then there's just like flowers all over.
Yeah, like it's
I don't know.
stylish.
So
I guess. I don't know.
this point, I'm guessing maybe they saved it because it's supposed to be like oh, okay, now she's pissed, so now it's going to get violent because she's mad that they killed her brother. And so she fucking fights the priest guy, takes him out easily with his own fucking dart gun.
Yeah,
he went for the gold on like the longest death in the entire movie.
Very extra. He screams.
He like tries to raise his like extra bullets and he tries to throw them and he can't do it and he dies against the cage.
But yeah, then she meets all of them. And
well, remember they fight in the hallway, and this is where the Psy guy is to attack her, and he has a coin for an eye patch now.
And he ends up getting one of his scythes stuck in like the wall, and she takes it, flips over him, and stabs him
right in the head, and like blood gushes out of the wound and like all over his face, and you're just like, oh, so this is what they saved all the violence for.
There's also another bit during that same scene where she punches one guy like a bunch of times in the face, and he's got like, like blood and like scarring all over his face, and he coughs up a bunch of blood.
Well, because now we get to the scene where like that blow dart guy like dies.
Yeah.
And then Sonny Chiba's character shows up again.
So it's everybody.
They're all fighting and everything. And I hate this fucking scene. When she's fighting the guy, she's finally fighting Hammerhead, right?
Yeah.
They're like fighting, and it cuts to Sonny Chiba's character and the two martial arts women getting to the compound.
Yeah.
And they finally get into the room, and they're in completely different positions. Like the movie has continued to go on.
Yeah. In the meantime.
In the meantime, while they were getting there, the movie has continued to go on, and now we're at a completely different scene when we get back to Sister Street Fighter.
Yeah. And she's fighting Hammerhead. Like, she throws one guy off the, that second floor thing.
Well, and like Sonny Chiba's character like fights this like a bigger dude and like stabs his like fingers into his intestine, and like the guy's holding his intestines and like
just
dies,
spilling out of his body. There's like a bunch of other guys who get like punched in the face or kicked in like the body, and like you hear like bones breaking and them just coughing up blood. And but
my favorite death in the entire movie is this. Like you mentioned, the guy getting rolled like a bread roller.
That's literally
this is what happens.
She's beating him up, and he's on the ground, and you just see her like.
This is the guy that can't hint anything. By the way, this is the guy in the white suit,
and she just starts rolling him. And we just started laughing because she's just rolling him, and he's just like, she's just rolling him and rolling him. She rolls him like 3 or 4 times.
She finally like grabs him in like a head hold
and starts twisting his head.
Twisting his head.
And you're thinking like, okay, she's gonna break his neck. Well,
he gets up, and his head is backwards. She twisted his head completely around. And he's still sentient for some reason.
He stumbles down the stairs.
He starts walking down the stairs.
As every one of like the other bad guys are horrified.
It's like a scene from a horror movie. Yeah. It's so weird. Just out of nowhere, just like horror movie.
And he dies. But that was favorite death, favorite scene.
So now we get Hammerhead and the guy, like they run into like their little hidey room.
Hammerhead's dead. Because he's the guy who got his head twisted.
No, that's the guy who can't hit anything. Hammerhead dies in the bedroom. Getting his head slammed into a fucking mirror.
In the mirror, yeah.
That's how Hammerhead dies.
Yeah, because Sister Street Fighter starts chasing the fucking Wolverine. And then, Hammerhead just gets...
Well, Sonny Chiba, like, throws him into a mirror and is, like, fucking, like...
He's got,
a bunch of glass
He's got shards of glass just sticking out of his face all over the place.
And I love the start of this final fight scene. Because they're in this little tiny cave.
With the bats.
With little rubber bats that are... HD does not help this movie. Because I'm sure in the older versions you can't see the string. But this is HD. So you can see all the strings that they're just, like, dangling the bats from.
And there's many bats.
There's bats and there's cobwebs everywhere, and they're fighting in this little cave.
Nice little haunted house.
And then they get out of there, and they're on the cliffside again. My favorite part of this entire scene is when they start fighting, and then our Wolverine guy, they both start screaming at each other.
They're both on like these like rock formations.
They both start screaming at each other like it's a fucking episode of Dragon Ball Z. And then to add to the Dragon Ball Z-ness of it, they both jump in the air and start fighting mid-air.
Mm-hmm. And she
flips around him.
She
and
69s him, and and basically stabs him in the stomach with his own Wolverine claws.
And there's blood spraying everywhere and everything. And then he just dies.
Yeah.
And then Sony Chiba characters brings the necklace because
her brother.
Because he had like this necklace that they keep like passing around because it's a remembrance thing.
Yeah.
And then she looks at the fucking rising sun.
And is sad in the credits. Now,
Listen,
all of that. So, if you were in the U.S. in 1974...
yeah, we had to talk about this part.
When this movie got released, and you wandered your stupid ass to the fucking theater, like, hey, yeah, Sister Street Fighter. And you wandered your fucking ass there. You bought your fucking ticket. You got your stupid popcorn with extra butter. You sat your ass down. You would have missed all of that violence.
They cut out...
Not joking.
They cut out literally the entire end scene where he gets stabbed and
like 30 plus seconds of every death.
Yeah, I think it was a total like 6 minutes of footage.
Yeah. So, in the beginning, when the guy gets the scythe in his eye, gone.
The head twisting scene, gone.
Gone. The guts, gone. The guy in the hallway who gets punched and spits out blood, gone. Scythe in the head, gone. The brother with the arrows in his chest, gone.
You would have been so confused. Like, that's why I want to see the edited version, because I want to see how confusing it is.
Well, I just want to...
Because you don't even see the main guy die in that.
How disappointing.
Well, because you'd see him, like, they'd be midair, and then stabbed in the chest.
You basically see, like, the last shot of him just laying there.
Yeah, and then it would just, like, cut to her on the cliffside.
That's it. Like, all the deaths would just be, like, the beginning, and then you'd see the very end, like, a millisecond of them just dead. That's it.
Now, I'll admit, it's okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's bad.
It's fine.
It's just kind of a typical, like, martial arts movie.
Until you get to the end.
The end is pretty great. I do like the Dragon Ball Z, like, fight scene at the end.
It's very...
Like,
out there.
You even said it when we were watching it. You're just like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, like, because the whole movie, I'm just kind of like, this is okay, I guess. But...
Like, it's not, like, obscenely bad or anything. It's not, like, offensively bad. It's just kind of, like, a typical martial arts movie. There's nothing really, like, designating it from just a run-of-the-mill martial arts movie.
There's nothing to really grasp me.
Yeah.
And then you get to that ending, and there's just guts and fucking blood everywhere.
I just kind of wish they did that through the entire movie.
Would have been nice.
It would have been really nice, because then it wouldn't have been as, like, just kind of, like, toast.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of toast until that scene.
Yeah,
until, like, the last, like, 15 minutes of the movie.
The last 15 minutes, and then it gets lit.
Yeah, and then it's awesome.
And then
I love the last 15 minutes. I would watch that movie over and over again.
And then it's just carnage. And I'm just like, I mean, even then, it's like, is this really X-rated material? But
no.
Still,
we've seen much more violent.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen much, much more. But the 70s were a different time, too. So.
But, yeah, that's really what you come for. Is
and I don't know.
Last 15 minutes.
The end is really good. I would say the rest of it is just okay. End is really good, though.
Yeah.
Like, I love all the violence. I love the fucking guy getting his head twisted around and walking down the stairs. Like, that's straight out of a fucking horror movie.
Well, I've never seen anything like that.
No, neither have I.
And that's the kind of stuff you really want, is when you're watching a movie that's kind of... it's kind of vanilla. You kind of want something to be like, whoa, I've never seen that before.
Well, yeah, and, like, we've seen movies like that. Like, we'll always mention the fucking Jesus Christ versus the devil horror movie.
Masterpiece.
That like I did not expect that at the end, and we got that. So
They did.
if
they
you
did.
know, if you know, you know. If you know the Team Cone lore, you know.
If you, 200 plus episodes of lore.
If you've been here, you know.
You're a real one.
Because that was one of the most unexpected things to ever happen on the podcast. I never expected to have a full blown scene of Jesus Christ versus Satan.
Yep.
But we've had that.
In bad shitty-o.
But we've seen it.
Filmed in someone's bedroom. I loved it.
But we've seen it.
Boy, it happened. We saw it.
We've seen it with our own eyes.
And you can't take that away from us.
But yeah, there's something to be said. I think this is like I would say it's overall like an okay movie.
Yeah.
But I would say it's worth it for the last like 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I would say it's very much worth it just for that, because that was pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty good.
That is especially for
they did a really good job with that ending.
Especially in terms of they just didn't care. They're just like, here's all the blood.
Well, yeah, and like I don't know, I kind of respect that. That's pretty fucking awesome. I mean, why not go out with a bang, right?
It definitely makes it stand out. So if it didn't have that, I would not.
I would just say it's like
care.
Honestly, like the rest of the movie is just so like kind of vanilla, and it's like not like, because I'd rather watch like Master of the Flying Guillotine or something like that, something more like interesting, where it's like lots of like weird deaths throughout the entire movie. But
lots of crazy stuff.
Yeah, but I would say it's worth a watch at least.
Yeah,
and if you like Sony Chiba, he does some pretty badass shit in this.
Yeah,
and I would say the lead female is really good too.
I mean, listen, if you really want to go down the Street Fighter rabbit hole of there's like 6 or 7 movies.
There's a ton of them.
Then you're gonna eventually probably watch this.
Yeah. If you're gonna go down the street, if you're gonna watch all the Street Fighters with Sony Chiba in them, you're gonna watch these.
You're gonna.
I don't think he's in the sequels.
I don't think so.
But they're kind of in the same universe.
It's a spinoff.
It's so weird because like no one plays the same character.
Don't ask questions.
I don't know. Same studio, same year. There was 3 Street Fighter movies in this year. Because Street Fighter, the sister Street Fighter 2 came out this exact same year, a few months later.
Yep. You know what?
So they just had a bunch of extra material. They're just like, fuck it, let's release a second movie.
I'm only assuming that they must have filmed this like back to back or something.
They had to, dude.
Because you have Street Fighter 1 in 74, Sister Street Fighter 74, and then the sequel to Sister Street Fighter also in 74. And my internet's not loading, but I'm going to hope that...
What, Sister Street Fighter 3 came out the next year? Did it?
No. Hold on.
What?
Oh my god.
What?
Don't fucking do this to me.
What?
Don't fucking do this. Wait. No. Oh no.
What?
Oh no. Oh no, Will. Oh no.
What happened?
Oh dear God, I can't believe they did this.
What happened?
All.
Oh no.
Street Fighter 1, Return of the Street Fighter, and Street Fighter's Last Revenge came out in 1974.
What?
Yes.
3 Street...
So the 3 films in the Sony Chiba version came out all in the same year.
And then 2 Sister Street Fighter movies.
And 2 Sister Street Fighter
5
movies.
Street Fighter movies in the same year?
Yes.
Marvel could never.
That is, how exhausting.
5 fucking Street Fighter movies?
What would they do?
In 1 year?
Yeah.
Good God.
The only outlier is the 3rd Sister Street Fighter movie, which came out in 75, a whole year later.
Oh.
They couldn't fit it in. That's fucking absurd.
That's insane.
I mean, I know there's other Japanese franchises that did the same thing where they had like 6 movies in 2 years, but that is just hilarious.
That's nuts. Imagine how exhausting that would be to be like a fan of that.
Oh, listen, if you were a prime consumer, Will,
you were eating well. You were eating so good.
if all you wanted to see was Sonny Chiba being a degenerate, oh, you got 3 movies in 1 year.
You were eating very, very well.
Oh my god, I can't believe
Fucking hell.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, if you want like a quick little romp, it's like only an hour and 20 minutes, not long at all. I think there's a version on Tubi. I don't know which version.
The version on Tubi, I mean, if you're desperate,
is unremastered.
It looks a little bootleg.
Probably.
It looks a little cropped. So the exotic ladies fight will be even more incoherent.
Well, it'll probably be... well, the doubles will be like less...
Oh, another
what?
Another bit that was edited out that we forgot to mention was there's this woman who Sister Street Fighter gets like captured, and this woman starts whipping her.
Oh yeah, she's like above these like glass spikes.
And she starts whipping her, and then she's hanging on the rope, so they start burning the rope. So it's gonna burn, and she's gonna fall into the spikes and die. And then Sister Street Fighter, right when they burn the rope, she freaking flips through the air and makes it. And then she punches that woman with the whip, and she falls on the spikes, and there's blood spraying everywhere. That was edited out. So basically, everything fun was edited out of the movie. That's what they did. Thanks. 6 minutes just gone.
Yeah, fucking insane. I seriously want to see that version just to see if it makes any sense. I doubt it will.
I'm sure it makes sense, but I just can't imagine not being extremely disappointed watching it.
Yeah, well, because I mean that ending would be like
I don't know. It's like
it'd be such a blue ball.
Well, I don't know. Watch a porno with the sex cut out.
Yeah,
like they're kissing and they're getting hot and heavy and then cut. Like that's what.
Just cut to the next scene.
That's what it would feel like. Is it's like you wait the whole movie.
It'd be just a bunch of implied stuff.
Yeah, you wait the whole movie for this, and then they're fighting, and you're like, hell yeah, and then that.
Well, because even up until that point, you're just like, why is this movie even rated R? There's nothing like ultra violent about it,
except for 5 seconds of nudity.
Yeah, it's like, okay, why is this rated R? And then you get to it, and you're just like, oh, okay, and you're like,
oh,
I get it.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that's Sister Street Fighter. I mean, okay until the end, and then fucking awesome. That's my review. Shitty to pretty.
Shitty to pretty, Will.
Let's do it. If you're new here, Shitty to Pretty is our rating system. We go off of entertainment value, 1 through 10. The ending saved it from being not like a low score, but kind of a mid score, you know. Ending saved it. I would say 7.
Yeah.
7's a good spot, because I was going to give it like a 5.
I agree.
I would say a 5 if it stayed.
If it did not have the ending, I would say I would have given either a 5 or a 4.
Yeah.
If the ending was just kind of meh, I probably would have given it a 4. But
well, if the ending was like every other martial arts movie known to man, you know, like you're just vanilla martial arts movie where they just end with them on a cliff looking at the sun, which is what they did. But
I was gonna say they did do that.
But but they did it in a different way, because there's fucking blood spraying out of Wolverine's wound and shit like that, and the entire ultra violent ending that they didn't need to do, but they did.
Oh, they definitely needed.
So it deserves a 7, and I think that's, I don't know, it's okay. It's a pretty good martial arts movie, and the ending is awesome. So if you're interested in that, that's my review at least.
I mean, if you liked the Street Fighter,
you'll probably like this one.
Any reason why you know?
And then go check out the other 4 fucking movies that came out this year.
Yeah, really inundate yourself there.
Yeah, just really envelop yourself in the Street Fighter lore. Not the video game, the movies.
Yeah, we'll get to the other Street Fighters.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
We will. It's inevitable.
Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. Just If you want to see an okay martial arts movie until the end where it just goes fucking balls to the wall, there you go. Movie. There it is. Yeah. Anything else to say about it?
That's it.
That's it. So for They Mostly Come Out at Night, this has been Will.
This has been Alex.
And we'll talk to you all later.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
She can't be killed.
She can't be killed. Ragdoll.